Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks, starting with the S&P, and we'll look at the NASDAQ as well, and Bitcoin at the end. So we're in a wave 4 here, and with wave 4s, out of the dozen different types of Elliott wave corrections, they can all occur in wave 4, so it's always a little bit of a guessing game until they mature and then they become easy in hindsight. So the current move down to wave A here appears to be in 3 waves here. Okay, so that's telling me that this is corrective in nature, so that means the rest of it's going to be a bullish corrective as well. What I don't really know is that should I put wave B here and then look at this as wave C, and we'll work out 5 waves for this. And we also need to tie in stocks to this particular move down here as well, so we get the right low, or we put wave B over here and then look at this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 3, 4, 5. Now obviously the support is down here. There's a gap that needs to be doesn't need to be covered, but on the futures market that's sort of a bit of a given. So obviously this consolidation here and this particular low here will have some sort of meaning at that point. So we will be sort of heading down into that way there. So so it's still a little bit of a guessing game, but you know, one of the things that we do know is we don't have a low in place yet. That's very clear when it comes to looking at stocks. So we don't have to be we don't really have to do anything. You know, we've got a few we suggested a few short trades in the last video, you know, shorting new lows, those sorts of things. So we'll just sort of continue with that. But number one, I don't exactly know which is the best way to count the S&P. Secondly, I know the low is not in place yet, and a lot of the earnings that we're having in January for these big tech stocks that we're looking at, they will be somewhere in early Feb as well, and late January as well. But we'll take a look at each one of those as we go. So I'll just be dancing between the daily chart and the 15-minute chart here for this. So we've got wave 3 up here, and as you can see, this first move down through here, if I bring in the next degree lower here, the ABC pattern here, because we can see we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it does appear to be a 3-wave move here, so that's good. On the NASDAQ it looks more like 5 waves down as an impulse wave. So here we've got the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave at that point here. So if you're using this charting program, you've got to put the turning points exactly on the right one, because it will tell you if there's an error or there's a warning that things haven't been counted right, and so on. So I've got this move down through here, and just counting 5. I mean, as I mentioned before, we can have this wave B here sitting over here, and look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, with an A and a B and a C wave up here too. So there's different ways to look at this, but we're not there yet. But you know, we are coming into a bit of a support zone. If we bring this down into here, we can look at this a little bit differently. So this 5-wave structure here, looking at it like this here, and then this one here as 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. That's all of the 3rd wave there, with 5 little waves in it. 4, 5. So when we come into this particular wave 4 here, it looks a little bit impulsive here, doesn't it? That little sharp move up here. So I'm sort of suggesting that, you know, we may get some sort of ABC pattern here to this previous low point here, which would be sort of suffice at that point, and then another move down at that stage. Now we'll have a look when this gets down to here, because I can see stocks like Netflix that need to come down even further. So we may need to come down further. We may need to extend this 5 waves here, or view it a little bit differently. Like I said, we don't know. We know that the low's not in place yet, so we're still working the, you know, the later stages of this larger ABC correction here on this. And this will be the same for the NASDAQ as well. don't need that. So we're looking at like I said, this other move here can be wave 1 and 2 here as well. So, you know, when you've got big numbers like this 20,000 here, markets, as you know, like to be sort of pulled down to that. But being pulled down to that, these tops here and this low here will also give some support as well. So we can see that it wants to go down further and it's not completed. And yeah, so we just keep doing our best to track that. So on the 15-minute chart here for this, so we've got the A wave, the B wave, and we're working this particular structure out. On this one over here, it was more like a 5-wave structure coming down into all of this as well. So that's having 5 waves here, looking for another 5 waves over here. So I've counted this one as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, and then there's 5 waves in here, 4 and 5 down to here. So in this case 2, we could probably expect a move up here and then a move down at this point. This 2100 here is going to be is important. So that's a minor level, and obviously we've got this, you know, this move down here. So we may need to extend all of this down here and another, you know, and get a bounce off this and see what it looks like. But like I said, it doesn't appear that we're finished at this particular point in time. So, and you know, if I've made a mistake, and we always, you know, need to be looking at both sides of the market. But for me to see a low in place, I would need to see, imagine this as being wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here, then we'll have the ABC. So I don't have to freak out and, you know, think I'm missing out on something, because we'll wait for this to pull back and we can pick it up, you know, in these first little moves here for all of that. Yeah, but basically waiting for this, you know, 5 waves up and then a pullback, and then we can look at, you know, the trade setup and you know, looking how to sort of get into all of that. So that's that. And yeah, so we can look at stocks now. So I'll just go back to my daily chart here to try to keep things as clean as possible. And then we've got Apple here, and this is not confirmed, this particular one here, so it's at the end of the month, so we need to sort of note that. So in this instance here, there's a couple of ways to you know, we called the top in and we're looking for the rollover, we've got it, and now we're sort of scratching our head saying, well, what have we actually got here, you know? Now, there's 2 things here. There's taking a stock's own individual wave count into account, and there's also taking each stock and putting it in the herd of the rest of the stocks, you know? I mean, basically, you know, this is humans here, and, you know, we're kind of herd animals ourselves. And, yeah, so we've got to kind of always do our best to kind of tie them in, you know, unless it's something really, you know, out of the box, left field, whatever, you know, with a particular stock, negative or positive, then that's fine, you know, it won't be the same. But generally speaking, so in this case, I could, for instance, you know, it looks like a nice 5 waves down, so we could be looking at that. I could also put wave B over here for this and put wave A over here and look at this finishing off down here as well. So there's a couple of ways to view all of this. I'm just not quite sure the best way just yet for this, but let's just go in and have a look at what we've got so far. So this is the move down from the top here. And let's just get in a few details here. So from the top here, we've got a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, a nice little 3rd wave here, and I can look at this as a 4th wave here. And then the 4th wave, I can look at this as the 5th wave coming down here. So this 5th wave here, I can put it here as the A wave, and then a B wave up here, and then a C wave to the downside. But I could also call this wave 4 here a B wave as well, and have an A, B, C, and then 5 waves down. So I have to wait for it to land. I have to wait for this to finish. There will be a strong bounce if you're short here. There will be a strong bounce off the 230 here, which is the top of minor group 1. So be prepared for that. And you know, as we noted with the S&P, we were looking for a little move up and then down. So you know, this may be I may need to count this differently, but you know, from this wave 4 here, it looks quite nice as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then a nice third wave here. So you know, maybe it doesn't need to go too high here, all those sorts of things, but we'll see. 230 would be the target for this short trade if you're shorted, you know, under that low there and able to catch that. But yeah, so I don't know if B wave needs to go here. You know, over onto this one, or we're going to have a bigger pitch here. But if all the other stocks are like ready to trade up here, then we'll be trading this one long at this point. Okay, so we'll just take this back to intermediate and back to daily here. So we've got a clean picture when we come to Amazon here. And with Amazon here, I'm looking at this down here, and then 1 and 2 here, and then 5 waves up here for wave 3, and we're into wave 4 here, and this is the 38.2% here. So this is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here as well as wave 4 here. So anywhere between 38.2 and the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree is the normal sort of area for that. And then we look over here and we've got this large number over here. So that's quite possible to pull down that far. So that's, you know, that's a starting point. I don't set anything in, you know, in rock in this game. So we just need to count the internal structure, and like I said, on its own individual accord and also as a group for this. The earnings for this are at this stage not confirmed, but they're at the beginning of next month. So based on that, this is our little target area here. Will we get down here, and have I counted this in the right way as well? Should this be over here as wave A here, and this as wave B here, and this is 1 and 2 here, going into 3 here? It needs to come down further, 4 and 5. Is that the case as well? So there's, you know, we're not quite out of the woods yet, but we'll keep heading. You know, keep sort of looking at all the counts and trying to do our best to understand them. This is it here in the sort of bigger picture, squishing it all in here. So we could have this wave A over here and this wave B here over here for this, that type of thing, and that would put a different slant on the picture, but we'll just see. We'll just go step by step, you know, like, so we don't need to do anything at the moment. You can see here that, you know, in a nutshell here, we've got 200 down here, which is a major level, and then we've got these levels here, 1, 2, and 3 here, which make up group 1. And what you can see here, it's, you know, it's come down, touched it, it's broken through here. It hasn't become the retested resistance at this point. So if I look at this particular picture here, this image here, because in my world there's only 3 basic types of corrections at levels. You know, this is a very clean one here, where it comes, always expect the bounce. Now it may come below that a bit further, it may become shorter than that as well, but the bounce, and then through it, and then back up. Now it can do this one here, which is the second most common pattern, or it could do this one here where it comes back up above the level, and then we have to rinse and repeat and look at it coming down. And this little pattern in here will be a fractal of this bigger pattern in here, and that's why we can use that. And you can even get closer to that, because this move up here will be an ABC pattern. I could put the entry here as well, all those sorts of things. So it's a matter of understanding where you are in these patterns, and then just continue to work them. You know, it's sort of that simple. So in this case, it's, you know, this case it dropped through and went back, and this case it's dropped through and gone back. In this case, it's come down, bounced off here, gone through, and is retesting now. Now I don't know if this is going to give me another little push up here, and then, you know, then come down again and do this. You know, I don't know that. If I was going to add to the position here, then I would just look at, I'd start here, go to that second low here, and then I'll just have to wait for this here to see if that pushes back up. If that pushes back up there, then I can bring that over to here for that. Then I can add to that position, you know. I think that was, I don't know where that was, whatever it was. So, yeah, and in terms of this coming lower here. This will be 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and I've got this as 1 and 2 here. So yeah, it's got a nice little ABC there, so it can come down at this point. Some of the other markets need to push up. So normally what I find is that, with the trading levels, with the major level here, and then we've got these 3 levels here that make up group 1, what I find a lot of the time is when number 2 here, when the market's been above up the top here and it's coming back down, when this number 2 here becomes the retested resistance, it seems that the magnet of the strength of this 200 here starts to really weigh and pull on this on the market. So there's a good chance that it can come down further, and our 38.2% is down here somewhere. So let's just go back and have a look at that for a moment just to see exactly where that is. So 38.2% is here, and the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree is here on that, so all in this area here. And as that number 2 over here, the 220, becomes the retested resistance over here, then we'll see that play out here. This number here, this you can see it's sitting on there, but now it's breaking through. Hasn't quite got it as resistance yet, but it's it's getting there at this stage. Okay, so that's Amazon, and then we come to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA basically in an ABC pattern as well. Estimated earnings later in the month, next month, and yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward here, as from the top here, as an A wave here, a B wave up here, and a C wave to come down for this wave 4 here. So let's just get, obviously there's going to be this 100 here is a major level. Then we've got 1, 2 and 3 that make up group 1, and you can see that we've got support. You can see that the top of number 3 here, which is the 30, number 3 is the 4th strongest number. So 1, 5, 8, and then 3 here, and this is a medium level up here, so this is 5, so 5 is the 2nd strongest number. So markets normally sort of stop around these numbers and do their little dance, and you've got to kind of figure out what it is. But when this comes down, or if this comes down here, there's obviously going to be support at that 130. So if you're in a short trade here, scaling out here would be the way to go. And looking at anywhere from, when I look at 33 there, that's also the group 1 of the 130 on a smaller fractal to the downside. So that will also be support there as well, which you can also see in its history here is support here and here. So that's all, and it's gleaning that support now. So as long as you sort of understand that a bit. So coming down here for this, looking for it to come down further down. It seems to be going okay at this point. So I'm sort of looking at it like this. I may have to adjust this, but we'll just see. It seems to be okay at this stage. You've got the gap here in the 3rd of the 3rd here. So I think that it seems to be going okay. This little wave 4 might need to sort of go over here. This wave, it's got a little ABC here at the moment, but it may need to get a bit more complicated into something else. We'll see. But generally the pressure is on it to the downside here. Rightio, so let's just clean this one up, and then we'll head over to put this back on the day and go to Meta and put that here. And with Meta here, yeah, we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So we're in wave 4 at the moment. Could I put wave 4 over here? Yeah, I could, but it wouldn't be in line with the rest of the herd. I'll just put this in here. This will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just simplifying this this, I mean, if you know me a little bit, then you'll know that, when I see, emotional events come into the market, I kind of take them with a pinch of salt. Their wave counts, I normally follow the main volume and traffic on those sorts of things. But it's a nice wave 2 here, to back that mess up in here. Nice wave 2, pretty sharp, not doing the right things. Wave 4's nice and messy, that's all good. And 5 waves up here. So now we're in another messy situation. So you can see how messy this previous wave 4 got, so we have to be careful about, thinking that we know what it is. Once it matures or gets to certain points, you get, you kind of get to know it. So this here, so we're looking back down at around this level here, around the 550, 560 for this. It looks like it's quite strong and wants to go up. The earnings date is confirmed at the end of the month for this market. And if we go to the 15-minute chart here and look at this, I've put it as a WXY. I don't normally do that a lot of the time. I try to stay with the ABCs, mainly because a lot of people are learning Elliott, and I like to keep it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and ABC as simple as possible, because it's it's a nightmare within itself already, Elliott wave. But I still think it's the best thing out there because it connects markets. It just trends and corrections of different degrees, and Elliott wave is the only one that connects them all, connects all the dots. It's still tricky. I don't pretend to be right all the time. So in this case here, we're looking at sets of 3 waves coming into play in this whole correction. So there's a couple of ways that this could play out, but this is probably the better way at this point. So we've got from the top here, we've got the A wave here. There is a overlap between wave 1 and 5. That's why I've got this warning sign here for that. But the ABC up here for the B wave, and then coming down here for this. So this little move here is quite interesting. This thing here is quite interesting. I mean, so far this move down here is in 3 waves, right? But if you get 5 waves here, let's just sort of draw that out. If you get 5 waves here, there's going to be a little ABC pattern here, and then we'll come down here, so to speak. So the short trade here for this would be under this little B wave here, if you wanted to look for a short here for this. But it's quite a strong market, so you want to be a little bit careful because the B, it's the whole correction is holding up quite well. But we should be back down at these lows down here for this. So if you're going to trade against the trend and do those sort of things and trade within a correction, you don't want to put your normal position sizing on there. It needs to be much less. I know that's difficult because it just doesn't give you the thrill of an entertainment of having a larger position on there. So just be a bit mindful of that. So let's just go back here to the daily chart on this and go to the next stock here. It was Meta, wasn't it? So this one's Netflix. This was quite bearish here, as you can see. So in this instance here, if we I need to go back even further on that, but that's, so I won't do that. But what I could do is just go this way. No, that's not going to be helpful. But anyway, you can see that it's falling out of bed, and it's obviously heading to the 800 here, and the 10, 20, and 30 here are going to be the the supports for this here, in this little area here. So we'll go in here and we'll see how we can count this here. We'll need to go to the 15-minute chart here. I'll just squish it all in so we've got a starting point. We've got wave 3 over there. We've got the A wave here. I have to say, from this top here down to this first move here, it doesn't really appear like 5 waves, does it? And the thing is this little B wave over here has taken the top out there. So what that does, it cements in this being 3 waves here. Now, I could probably go 1, 2, 3, and 4 up here and get overlapping wave structures with this one here. So I could squash it into B5 waves, but I'm just sort of saying, it's not a clear pathway at this point. So we've got it from the B wave here anyway. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is clear. And I'm just trying to sort of understand this. Now, I may or may not have it right, but what I can tell you is that there will be support coming into this group 1 here. And because this is the strongest move here, this has got to be the third wave here. So from that point here, we've got this here. And then from within this third wave here, we'll have this one. We'll have this one here come into play from 2 down to 3 here. And then, of course, we've got the orange one here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can actually get another wave in here. So I think it's going to there's a whole series of fourth waves in here. So it's just going to get a little bit messy. But we should sort of, when I look at a large number like this here, this 800, a major level, then I look at group 1 and group 2. So that's group 1 above and group 2 below. So that's anything within this, I don't need to make any decisions straight away. When something has spent time here in this thing and then finds that as support or this as resistance here, then I can take action. Now, that's my outside parameters. As it matures in here, I might find another opportunity and I can get closer to it, closer to the 800 to get a long trade or a short trade. But initially, I don't worry about it. I let it mature. I don't go for it. Okay, so that's that, and we'll just put this back to. So yeah, quite weak, but you always get the opposite of what you're looking at. So that fast move down will start to change into a slower move. And earnings are 21st of this month. And then we come over to Google. And let's just clean this up a little bit here. So, yeah, I mean, my best shot at counting this is a little bit out of whack with the other market. This is next month too, the earnings. So, yeah, intermediate down into minor here. I've got 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3, and going into 4 here. So we're still in a fourth wave. It's just a little bit different from the other markets, So the timing of this market is sort of out of whack with the other market. So maybe I've made a mistake. I just can't see it yet, that's all. If somebody can see it, then let me know. But in the meantime, we'll be following the same moves as the rest of the market. So we're in a wave 4 here. And as you can see, it looks like we've got the A wave here, the B wave up here, and we're coming down for the C wave here. That will come down to this wave A over here. We don't want this wave 4 here overlapping wave 1 over here. If that's the case, then we've got a problem at that point. Okay, so we'll just see how it goes. I mean, it's doing all the right things in terms that this. Because it's reacting at this major trading level here, major trading level 2 here, the 200, because it's reacting here, then we will be getting this picture here at the 200. At the moment, we're reacting from here. Because we're reacted from here, we'll get the first high up here, and then we'll end up pulling back. Now, the only variation on this will be this one here, where it doesn't drop back below the level. But this one here is a little bit more, it's not rare, but it's, you got to kind of be in a parabolic move for it to do that. And this is at, this could be intraday, it can be, in any time frame. So this is the likely one at the moment, and where this is an ABC, and we're looking at an ABC with Google. So we're in here somewhere, we're about here. So eventually we'll get over to here, and then we'll look for this long trade up to here and get out before that, and then yeah, and so on. So that's where we are at the moment. And if we go to the 15-minute chart and squish it in there, we've got this here. So we can put a few more labelings on this. So this top here is a little bit under this top here, but still gives us that nice 3 waves here. I mean, if this one here was lower than this one here, then we could look at it as more bullish, but it's just not, it's just, this is the best count at this point. So I'm thinking that we've got 5 waves down to this particular point here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then some sort of ABC onto this one, and then wave 1 and 2 here and coming down here. So if you're short here at the moment, it's fine, and you know, we'll keep on moving down here further for all of this, but that's sort of where we are. Obviously there's going to be support coming into this low here, and obviously this low here, and we can look at our numbers, the 188 and the 190, and 190 is a medium level, and then we've got group 2 in here. I won't go into that, but don't want to complicate it, but yeah, we've still got more to come here. So when you look at these big stocks like this, and then you have a look at the S&P and the NASDAQ, then you kind of understand that we're in the later stages, of the correction. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it, really. Do you know what I mean? That's where we are. So that's that. Let's just clean this back up and take it to the daily chart and move into the next one, which is Microsoft. So this one here is a little bit quite complicated. Anyway, the earnings on the 29th. And I'm looking at this here's being wave 3 over here with an A wave here and a B wave over here and then a C wave to come down here. Now, I don't think that it's going to come down and break this low here, because the timing of it doing that wouldn't be in line with the rest of the market. So then I think to myself, well, and I've mentioned this many times, is there some way that we need to look at this here being bullish here? Because most of the other markets that we looked at had this as an ABC pattern down here. And I can do that, that's fine, but it's difficult to count this here as 5 waves up here. I could look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3 here, some sort of ABC for 4, and then even a triangle ABCDE here, and then moving up, but obviously it overlaps with this. So I've got this wave 1 here and wave 2 here as well, in case we need to look at it as bullish. It's not going to make any difference. We're going to find the low, and we're going to get the first impulse wave up, and then we're going to get on this train, and we're going to go up. It's as simple as that. So we just really got to be patient and just keep pretending that we understand this move down here, which I don't that much, but we just do the best we can with it. We'll just squish this up here, and that's the top over here. So this move down here, I can see that we can count it differently. I could go 1 and 2 here and got a nice third wave here, and I could look at this as the 4th here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could look at this as the A wave here, and then a B wave here, and a C wave down here. But I'm looking at this as wave 4 at the moment. So it's a little bit tricky. So I've got 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here. The 4th wave, I don't know why that's jumped off, but I don't know where that's gone there, but 3, and looking at this coming down here a little bit more, so yeah, something like that. No, I haven't labelled the other one. So anyway, we know that market needs to come down further, so this will be further to the downside on this one, on Microsoft. Okay, so then we come over to Tesla, and with Tesla here, I'm going to bring this down further as well. In this particular instance here from wave 2 here, just to give you an idea, we can come up here to wave 3 up here. The 38.2% is here. We can look at the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, which is in here. So really this area here, this 38.2%, is an area that we need to seriously consider. I thought that we may have a little A, B, and C in here, and then we can go up for 1 and 2 and move up. So that's possible, but I really have to consider it coming down with the rest of the markets at this point. So, but we're going to have a look at both sides of the market just to be fair. So this medium level here is the 400. So if that found support, pushing up above it now is not support. It's got to come back and find support. It's got to come back and test it. Like this little guy here, it's pushed up and it's coming back and testing it and then pushing up. So it's more like finding this. It's not resistance yet, and it's not support. It's just in no man's land. So we just need to give it a little bit of time to figure out what we've got here. But I've just put it into 5 waves down here and ABC here. I've probably done that wrong. Yeah, I've done that wrong here. So I need to, let me just drop this down into here. I need to put that into there. I'll need to put, this. Come back and get that, but that needs to go up there. This one needs to come down here. That needs to go up there. This one here, it's not that one. I can fix it up later. So the B wave up here, and because we'd also been looking at this as wave 1 to the upside with a little ABC pattern here, and that's possible. But if it breaks this low here, then it's retested this 400 and it's failed at that point. So that means that this would become a bit of a different situation at this point. This would come here, and we'll have to put this here as wave 1 here, and wave 2 would need to go up here somewhere for that. So that would be 1 and 2, and then we'll come down, but you can short it under this one here. So I'll just see how this sort of plays out here, and we can count this down as 5 waves here as well. We can look at that as 5 waves. So we'll just see how that plays out. I could put this over here as well, actually, on a count, and look at this as the A, the B, and the C wave here. So there's a couple of ways I can see this to play out. But yeah, taking that shorter. If that pushes up here, then you can push that up to there. Okay, that's Tesla, and then we come over to, let me just try to get a bit of a routine happening here. Just bring this back up to here into the daily chart, and then we're going to have a look at little Bitcoin. I mean, the 4-year cycle should have Bitcoin in a bullish mode for 2025. Based on the halving and all of that, we'll see. So at this stage here, we've got this wave 4, we've been in this correction here, and then we're looking at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then going up for wave 3 here. And the way that is counted is like this here. So from this low here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd and the 4th, and then this here is a bit of a dog's breakfast. So I don't know the best way to count this, and I don't know if this count that I've got is correct, but it does put it in line with the rest of the markets, the NASDAQ and the SP. So I'm happy with that. Once again, it's got the same sort of pattern as most of the other tech stocks as well. Forgive me for calling it a tech stock, but it's in that basket, and the public are not talking about Sats yet. Stack and Sats is still a red-eyed sort of job, so it's not commonplace yet. So it's a technology stock in my view at this particular point in time. Let's look at this here on the 15-minute chart and squish it all in. So this is the wave 3 up here. We're looking at this as an A wave here, a B wave here. So that's pretty, that seems to be correct. That seems to be correct. I could put wave C here, and that's finished because it's dropped past this low here. We do have 5 waves down here. But otherwise, if we take it in line with the other markets, then we'll need to bring this down here. And then we would need to look at this as a 5-wave move coming down here. We've got a nice little ABC pattern here, so we could put wave 2 here, or we could put wave 2 over here on this. So just dropping this down to this one here. So I've got wave 1 and 2 here. I don't know if I can, yeah, this is how I've counted that, but yeah, I could certainly put wave 2 over here, which is probably about right, really, you know. So there's, like I said, there's a couple of ways to look at this. We could put wave C here and be finished with it, but that wouldn't be in line with the other market. So I would need to have some evidence for that at that stage. It's not to say that Bitcoin can't, you know, be a big boy and run by itself and, you know, do something different from the NASDAQ, you know, and that would be nice to see, don't get me wrong. You know, I'd like to see it stand on its own sort of 2 feet in a way, but, you know, I have to move with the evidence, and at this point it's suggesting that we still need to come down further for this market. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.